All right. So we both saw some clowns on the weekends. Good old It. So what did you think of that, man?
It was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine. Yeah, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like Annabelle bad, but it wasn't like...
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be remembered in like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's... I don't watch a lot of like horror films and stuff, so I was excited to see it. And I wasn't too sure what to think because I hadn't seen the original for a while. And the original... Isn't it like a TV series, or it's like a little episode series kind of thing?
Yeah, it was like a two-part series that lasted for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what everyone remembers, like Tim Curry in the sewer drain, and he's Pennywise. So
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this film though. I don't know if it's better or worse. It's obviously better technically, but yeah, it's like everyone remembers it, that old TV movie kind of thing, getting scared shitless as kids.
Yeah,
but I don't know if anyone is gonna really remember this one as being super scary or not.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, being scared as well as like, I guess it's subjective as well. Like who finds everyone finds different things scary. For one thing for me is they nailed the 80s vibe. Like they nailed basically. I'm saying like Stranger Things. Like Stranger Things had that 80s vibe down. They had the kids on the bike. This thing has the kids on the bike. One of the kids from Stranger Things. They nailed that, and the actual kids in their like relationship and the characters, like I was invested in.
Yeah, the kids are really good actors. I got to give them that.
They did a really good job there. The one big thing for me was the clown at the beginning, and I guess it's not even a clown; it's a demon, isn't it?
It's an alien. Shapes. No, it's in the book, and I think they might go into it in the movie, but it's an extra-dimensional creature. So it's from a different dimension. Obviously, spoilers. All our reviews are spoilers.
Yeah.
In case somebody's tuning in and be like, "Oh, they're ruining it." Yeah, fuck off. That's how you watch a movie. It's from a different dimension, and it landed on Earth like millions of years ago.
Right.
And where it landed, that's where the town of Derry is now built.
Right.
So like it kind of sat there or lay there dormant, and then once humans and stuff started coming around, it feeds off fear and it feeds off emotions, and then then it makes itself into whatever is the scariest thing for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like at the beginning with the kid, obviously with the boat, it goes down there. That's quite an iconic scene, especially for the trailers and stuff. That was like perfect, and just the way he played that clown was excellent. I was kind of expecting to see a little bit more of that later on, but because later on he just played like, I guess in a good way, an absolute nutcase. Like him and his dance. Remember him dancing in the flames near the end?
Yeah.
People are actually making memes of that now, and they're putting music to it. They're putting all types of music to him dancing like that. It's pretty funny. But overall I enjoyed the film. I didn't find it too scary. My biggest thing was that the kids. I thought he should have killed off maybe another kid or something. I know that didn't happen in the original or whatever, but I felt like they weren't scared enough. Like they would walk back into that house, and when they did walk back into the house the first time, they didn't even have any weapons on them. They just like kind of went, "Oh, who's in here?" I just thought like if I was a kid and you and a kid and we were all hanging out, we'd at least have a fucking baseball bat or something. We'd be like, "Just fuck this guy up." But I found that a bit weird. But on the flip side, I fucking loved it when they were in the house and then the clown like came out or whatever, or in whatever form he was, and they literally just went, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
it's
and they're just
like
freaking
that
out.
Reaction.
Yeah,
it was such a good reaction because it's exactly like what would have happened. You would have been like, "What the fuck is going on?" So, but yeah, like there's lots of little bits we can kind of pick apart, or I mean, what was your favorite part?
I think it was the start of it. I really. Because I remember that scene from the 90s one with Tim Curry, but I think they just did a really... There was just a couple of tweaks they did to it, and obviously it looks better. It's better shot and bigger budget. And just from the moment when like his eyes light up and then he steps out, and just you can see him, he's getting wet in the rain, but he also seems like he's drooling at the same time.
Yeah.
And then the moment that got me and made me think that he's making the character his own, because he comes out and he does the same thing that happens. He goes, "Hey, Georgie." And then
Yeah.
there's the moment where he goes, and can you smell it? And he goes, popcorn, popcorn. I like popcorn.
Oh,
pop,
yeah.
Pop, pop. They all go pop. And then whatever they did, like it must have been a CG effect where they just, his eyes go kind of fucking off in two different directions.
Yeah.
And you can just see him like he's just like, something's gone wrong. Like something's tweaked in his head. And I'm like, oh, that's very good.
Yeah. I actually noticed that as well, because it was just like a click, wasn't it? It was just a click.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he's someone else now, or he's turned into something else.
Yeah.
So,
and then that's when the kid gets scared and he's like, hey, ain't you going to get your boat, Georgie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like that. It just, I think the problem with the movie that I have in general is everything is very okay. But see, the problem with this movie in explaining it is that if you haven't read the book, and most people haven't read the book, like 99% of people haven't read the book.
Yeah.
A lot of the best things in the book are kind of in the movie. But the problem with adapting this is that the book isn't amazing. It's got a lot of nice ideas in it. Like, it is a great idea. This creature that only children can see because they're the only ones who are, have the imagination to break down reality, and he's not quite real, and if you believe in him, he'll kill you, and he's feeds on fear, and he comes back every 27 years or 30 years. They're all really cool ideas. But the problem with Stephen King's book is that he kind of fucks up a lot of things, and a lot of it doesn't work. So you're dealing with something that's not perfect to begin with. And then when you're trying to adapt it, that's where the holes come in. Like, for me, you can see one of the big holes is, like you said, with the kids, of like, oh, they went in with no weapons. And then later on, it breaks the kid's arm, and then he looks like he's going to kill him. And then they're in the sewers, and they just beat him with like with bats and stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it got to a point in the film where I felt like the kids were like being more the bullies for him. Like to him, like they poke that thing through his head, and then he comes back, or he buggers off. But then they come back in. They start beating him. And they're like, we're not scared anymore. But I was like, you were barely scared to start with.
There's no like structure to it. And I think one of the things I would have loved to have seen, which kind of makes the movie hard to do, is that, all right, how to explain this? There's like four things about the book that you have to deal with. So this is going to be a long review, but it's only because it is a big fucking monster, and Stephen King couldn't stop, using cocaine when he was writing it. But the book has the kids in the 50s, okay? And that's one story. And then it has the kids in when they're grown-ups. So it's like, spoiler alert, there's going to be a second movie where they're grown-ups. So that's the two stories, and that's two parts of it. But the third thing in the book is that it is kind of magical. And if you leave the town, it doesn't have any control over it anymore. But when you're in the town, everyone's kind of like a little bit off. Like, that's kind of what they talk about with how Bev's dad is kind of a pervert, and how their parents are kind of oppressing them, and they've all got these demons and fears, and there's like, you're 6 times more likely to disappear in Derry, but nobody deals with it. It's like this magical bubble, like a cloaking field, and then everything outside of America, nobody really pays attention. And then when you're in it, it just seems like that's the way things are. And then the moment you go outside of Derry, you forget. Once you grow up and you don't have a big imagination, you don't see it anymore. The town just seems like a crappy place.
Right.
So the cool thing with the book is that it takes place, and it's jumping back and forth between the kids fighting him and the adults having to go back and finish him once and for all. And the point of that is that the whole idea of like what's real and fantasy and time is kind of like, they see themselves when they're younger, or like they hear stories from when they were younger, that kind of stuff. And like there's like reflections. They're doing the same thing when they were older as then they were younger, because that's the kind of idea of like, the book's got this really cool thing of everything's mixing together,
right?
And that's cool. But in the movie, they kind of didn't do that. They're just like, we just want a story. Let's just have the kids, they fight them, and then we'll have a sequel where the adults fight them.
I know it's very kind of blunt, because even at the end, it's just like, this is, what was it, chapter 1 or whatever they said?
Chapter 1, yeah. Like, I think that's kind of where that's where like some of the holes start to come in. Like when you try and make it a very sensible, straightforward story, there's all these gaps you have to fill in.
And totally. I mean, like you just explained with, when you leave the town and then the parents being all kind of messed up, they didn't really explain any of that, did they?
Yeah, like the start of the book is the adults learn like coming back to the idea that there is it, and then they're all just remembering it. It's like it was completely out of their memory, but like they get this message that something's happened, and they're like, oh Jesus, I completely forgot about that whole summer, and they've all got their like scars or whatever, and they remember these terrible things. And then as they're going back to the town, like what's his name, Bill, the main kid, like he grows up to be a writer, because that's Stephen King books. There's always a fucking writer in it. But he grows up and he's like successful, and he writes horror stories, and his stutter is gone.
Oh, okay.
But once he goes back to the town, his stutter comes back because he's starting to regress into being a kid.
Ah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but the fourth part of it. So the first part's like the kids, second part's the adults, and the third part is the fact that it just messes with reality. Like if you're scared of him, he'll kill you, and if you're not scared of him, you can fight him off.
Sure.
But the fourth thing is the thing that I like the most in the book, is just this atmosphere of Derry and how the whole town is just horrible and evil, because it was built on top of Pennywise, and he just made everything shitty. So the whole sewer system is like he made sure that's how they built it, and he made sure everybody's a little. And as time goes on, Derry just gets worse and worse. And then there's
I loved seeing it in the background, like that the photographs or the drawings, and you can see like his face in the background and stuff. That was pretty sweet. That was pretty creepy.
And that's the thing, like you miss from a movie. It's very hard to do that in a movie unless you're focusing on it. And I think that's kind of where I hope there's actually 3 chapters for this. For the first time ever, I hope there's more than a sequel. I hope the second film is them going back to the town. Yeah. And then I would love to see the third and final chapter where things get crazy and things are like mixing back and forth again, the kids and the adults.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen because all the kids will fucking grow up too fast.
That's true, actually.
That's the problem. That's why they have to shoot these movies real quick, because it's like, kids are going to be,
have to use some CGI
18, 19.
tricks or something.
Yeah, CGI.
Yeah,
Marvel that shit. So yeah, like the film's good because it has like good moments in it, but I think it just feels off for a lot of people because the kind of basics aren't in Stephen King's book. Like he kind of dropped off. Like it lures Georgie into the sewer, and that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
But then later he's kind of a giant monster, and he's like coming out of the walls, and you're like, what's he doing? Like what's the thing here?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt as well. I was just like, I'm seeing one thing, now I'm seeing another thing. It's like, are they scared of it? Oh, they're poking it? Oh, they're hitting it? It was kind of a little bit all over the place. Whereas the beginning, they set it up like super, super well.
Yeah, but, the idea I always got from the book, at least, is all of those things combined together. You have to have the 2 timelines mixing, and then Derry as a town is just shite. It's just this horrible place, and that if enough shitty things happen, it kind of gets stronger, and then it can lash out.
Right.
So
yeah.
A lot of the stuff in the original book is, there's the black kid, and then there's the Jewish kid, and then there's like a gay guy that goes missing, and there's a lot of attacking gay people or making remarks about the black guys in town and the black farmer, and there's racism and there's homophobia, and it's like it's sort of like in that horrible hatred that something bad usually happens.
Right, got you.
Because there's I think they tell the story in the movie of like, yeah, they do. In the book, the black kid's parents aren't dead, but the same.
Oh, okay.
But it's the same story. So because it took place in the 50s, he talks about how there was a nightclub that only the black soldiers could go to because they were still segregated, and then that burnt down, and it was a horrible thing. But his dad saw it that night.
Oh God, yeah.
So that's the kind of thing of like the town kind of becomes this festering horrible place
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
for 1 year, and in that 1 year, like the clown will come out and he'll like attack somebody under a bridge, or he'll kill people or whatever, and then he disappears again. He kind of like it's that weird thing in the movie where they kind of made him, he could do anything, but you weren't quite sure, like, why doesn't he just kill these kids?
I know, yeah. He's in the veins of the village, like you see him in all the old photographs. He's just been there since the beginning. But yeah, he's corrupted. He's a disease, you know.
Yeah, I think that would have like that's the kind of way I would have gone with the story. Is if you had all that, like those photographs, and you had those pictures, and you just realized that the whole town is this awful, terrible place.
Yeah, because I like that the kid that was discovering it, you know, and he was just saying like, oh, this town, like so many kids go missing, and even adults, you know, dying and stuff like that. But I like that discovery, and then he had the things on the wall. But if they like kind of delved into it a bit more, and they were like, this town's sick, you know.
Yeah, because to me it just felt a little like, I don't know, boring is the right word, but it was like, okay, here's one of the kids doing something, it is going to appear at some point, and then it goes to the next kid, and then it's like, oh, this kid's something's gonna happen to this kid.
I 100% agree. I feel like they could have taken some chances by like mixing it up a little bit, and people would have still been okay with that because it's and it's got such a big name. But at the same time, I guess you don't want to ruin it, or you've got quite a big thing to live up to. But yeah, I do agree. Like, it went to one kid, another kid did this, did that, back and forth, and it was, I guess, predictable in some ways. So yeah, that's the thing. It was predictable, and then it gets to the ending, and it's like, Beverly is just floating, and then they kiss her, and she wakes up, and then they beat it to death with pipes, and I'm like, that's it? That's how you're ending this movie? What was the ending all about? Like, so I didn't really get the floating myself. Like, I know that they said that a lot. We all float down here. Yeah. But what was the floating? Because was that? I don't remember that in the original. No, that wasn't in the original. Probably because they didn't have the budget. I don't even think it was in. Yeah, like it lives in the center of the sewers in the book, and then it turns into like a spider because that's kind of what they imagine it to be. But I don't think it had like all the bodies down there. Like, it just eats things and leaves them. Oh yeah, it doesn't, because in the movie, one of the strange choices they made was Bill's trying to chase down what happened to Georgie. But in the book, you know he's dead. They find his arm. Right. His arm washes out into the... Like, I thought that's what they were going to do, because, you know, it goes through the sewers, and that's when they have the title, It, floating there. Like, that's the drain. It goes into the marshes or whatever. They find his arm down there. And then I was like, oh, so, yeah, that kid's dead. Instead, they found the shoe, and it was the other girl. Yeah, it was the girl. Like, I like that. Like, if you're an It, like, aficionado, there's a lot of little things in there. But at the same time, none of it matters. I get, like, I remember, like, they kept showing a close-up of Silver, which is the name of Bill's bike. Right. And it's like, that works in the book, because he has this whole chapter about his bike and how he loved the bike and how he remembered buying it, and he called it Hi-Ho Silver, and it was kind of like he uses it to get away from It at one point. But it's like, in the movie, it's like, why are you showing a close-up of the name of the bike? It makes no difference to this story. And that's what I mean about, like, they're trying to do justice to the book, but the book has problems, and I don't think anybody has the balls to just say it. And you're like, yeah, this is fucking stupid. We have to make a bit of sense out of this book. And that's why it just felt a little predictable and a little, like, flat. When it ended, I was like, okay. Yeah. I want to see the next one, but I was like, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't watch, like I said, I don't watch a lot of horror films, so I did enjoy it because I haven't seen one for a while, and it was decent. But it definitely had its flaws. But at the end of it, I was like, I do actually want to see these characters again, and seeing them all kind of go their separate ways. I was like, oh, actually, I am looking forward to seeing those guys together. I reckon if that dynamic of the kids weren't in it and they were a bit more forgettable, I might not be as into it. But they really just did help the film quite a bit. Oh yeah, it's one of those weird films where he's usually like, oh, the book is better, but I can't say the book is better because the book's like 1,000 pages. It's like, it's a brick, and a lot of it's just nonsense or just boring and goes nowhere. But the good bits are really good. Did you read the book back in the day, or is it more recently? It was like a year ago. I was reading it again. So I like the book for a lot of parts of it, but it's the same. Like, the book has a lot of structure problems, and again, it has a fucked up ending that's just terrible. Yeah, you're like, and I understand. I actually forgot when I was watching it, but I think that was filmed in Toronto as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was filmed in Hamilton.
It was in Hamilton.
It was in Hamilton. Yeah, the house that they used is now like becoming a tourist spot.
Is it Steve's place?
Yeah, it is. That's where that dirty old clown lives.
Yeah, I thought so.
But there's other weird things that like they've changed out of the book that doesn't make sense. Like Ben, his parents are dead, but it's him that's kind of in the library learning everything. But in this one, they make it the fat kid Mike.
Oh, okay.
It's just like they're changing weird things. I'm like, what difference does it make if it's the fat kid or it's the black kid, or like it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Why would you change that? It didn't. Like I didn't understand the point of that. And then there was
that was a bit weird.
The couple of points in there I was very confused. Like when Bev, her dad attacks her, and then I think he's dead, right?
I think he's dead after the thing in the shower or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Porcelain round the face.
Yeah, and I was just like, that doesn't happen in the book. She doesn't kill her own dad, because then they go off and they fight it. And then they're having that little campfire, and then they have a little kiss, and I'm like, that girl's killed her father. What is she doing?
Yeah,
she's a murderer.
I know. Yeah, you think you'd be bloody shocked, because isn't the other person killed their parents as well?
The bloody bully.
That's it. The bully. Yeah. So he did that. I was just like, two people.
Bowers.
I mean,
That's it. Bowers.
He was insane, but
yeah. And in the book, he's proper mental case.
Yeah,
and
I thought. The bullies were pretty good actually in that, and then especially when the one where it got lost down in the sewer as well. He was just like, "Oh, you're fucked, mate." So
yeah, and he's a monster in the book as well. Like all those bullies are kind of like psychopaths, you know?
Yeah. That was I liked that. I liked that the fact they took one of those guys out. I kind of just wanted to take out one of those kids in the group, just one more, just to show the seriousness. Like this, this is fucking nasty, Whereas I just felt like the second time they walk into that house, I was just like, oh, they're the boss now. Like nothing's gonna happen.
I think that was kind of the structure issue, because in the book,
you
get those scary scenes of each of them getting attacked, but it's also because the town is just. You're learning all the history of the town, of like this horrible explosion that killed a bunch of kids at a school or at the ironworks factory.
Yeah.
And you learn about the fire and you learn about all this stuff. And like, it just keeps that horror element going without any of the kids getting killed.
Yeah.
But in this, because they don't have any of that, you're just going from the kids get scared at watching the movie, and they get scared going down the street, and they get scared seeing the leper, and they get scared seeing the headless kid walking through the library, but nothing happens to them. And after a while, you're kind of like, am I supposed to be scared of a clown that can't even kill a kid?
Yeah.
Usually, like in a horror movie with this, it's like all the kids would be killed except for one or two of them who make it out alive.
Sure, yeah.
And I know they can't do that, but again, it's that structure thing. You can't have the book scary town removed and then just replace it with the same jump scares all the way along. It's like, oh, the clown is behind the balloons, he's back again. It's like, so what? They just stab him in the face and he runs away. It's fine.
I know, yeah. It's not going to fly.
Yeah. So that was something they might fix in the second one.
That was quite a cool scene, actually, as well, with the balloons. I liked it when they were like perfectly lined up. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, there's a lot of really good imagery in it, but there's just stuff in it that I'm just like one of the things that just made me just roll my eyes was when Richie, the kid with the glasses, the Stranger Things kid, he gets separated and he's walking through a room full of clowns, and like he sees his grave, and he walks over to the coffin, and I'm just like, come on, like this is you know exactly what's happening here. The clown is going to jump out, and that's exactly what happens. Pennywise jumps out and he chases him, and then that's it. Like nothing happens.
But the stupid thing is he chases him, and suddenly the guy suddenly opens the door,
Yeah, and it's just like, that's the kind of stuff of where they haven't quite perfected getting from one bit to the next bit. And definitely the last 20 minutes of it was just like, it's got nothing behind it. It's very shallow.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Would
you recommend it though?
I don't. Actually, I was saying to people even today, I was saying,
even though
hey,
we just spoiled it for everybody who's listening, as always.
Yeah, we just spoiled it for everyone. I don't think I would recommend seeing it in the theater, but like I said, I don't see a lot of horror anyway in the theater.
No.
I would probably wait for the DVD release, but if you're intrigued by it, then go for it. But I don't think it's worth like the $20 or $15 cinema ticket.
No, it's not.
I don't think it is. So.
No, it's just it has a higher quality level than a lot of those kind of Paranormal Activities or Annabelle or those Blumhouse kind of regular stuff, that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
So it looks like a good movie. It's got like we said, the kids are good actors. Skarsgård as Pennywise. There's some really cool things he does with it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's fine. 5 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It like you said right at the beginning. It's not going to be remembered. You're not going to be like, oh, do you remember in 2017 when the film released? You're not going to be like that. So
yeah, like the only thing that's great about it is the start with Georgie getting attacked, and I like that. Unlike the TV show, there was the money that they show it biting his arm off and then dragging the kid into the sewer.
It was a very good scene because like I was watching it and I was nervous. I was just like, this is good.
Yeah.
The way that he played the clown, and then actually one of my favorite moments after was he was kind of not running away, but staggering away, and then the long arm just stretches out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is good.
I think that would have been a better way to go with this because they're making it not a mixture of kid and adult. I think if they had just made Pennywise that freak that's just standing in the crowd kind of thing, and none of the adults could see him.
Yeah.
And he's just terrorizing the kids that way. I think that would have been a better way to go. Rather than like he can come out of the walls and he can turn into anything, and there's headless monsters and there's arms and all. I was like, just make him really simple, like that thing in the sewer, where he's just like this thing is fucked. This thing is genuinely fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, because even the girl in and the sink, and then all the blood, and then her father couldn't see it and stuff like that. But it was just like, it kind of.
It's so over the top. Like it was like there was blood everywhere. Very over the top. And then they're like, the kids are cleaning, and I'm like, how are these kids cleaning this thing in 20 minutes? That's like a fucking 3-day job. It's all over the place. It's like slop.
Yeah, you want more scenes like where, remember the clown just waving at the kid.
Exactly, that's the stuff I love.
The butcher's kind of yeah, you want that.
And then
that's the messed up shit.
All the little stuff in the background I loved, which like when Bowers is being a psychopath and then he stabs his dad, and then on the TV it's Pennywise.
Yeah, that was good. Actually, the TV stuff was good.
Yeah, everything about like I think that should have been the way to kind of make it make sense. It's like as the story goes on, it gets stronger because it's causing more mayhem. But never make it go to the point where it's turning into a giant monster, because you can save that for the second movie, so that when the parents come back, like, oh my god, it's even worse than we remembered. I don't know. There's just so much you could do with the book because of the premise of like, what's real, what's fantasy, are things as bad as you think they are when you were a kid, and when you were a kid, did you exaggerate stuff and all this? And there's a lot of subtext you can put in there. But for this, it was just like, there's a monster, it kills one kid, and that's it. Oh no, it kills 2 kids, doesn't it? It kills the guy in the sewer, and it kills Georgie. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's
right?
what we see. Yeah, that's all we see, killing wise. And obviously, you see all these other people floating, and they allude to him killing a lot of more people. But what we actually see, and you don't even see the kid in the sewer. A little bit. You saw him in the house get dragged off later on.
Yeah, but even then, that's like, was that a hallucination, vision kind of thing?
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like, apart from the Georgie attack where it bites his arm off, and the bit of violence, he stabbed the dad, and then there's blood. I'm like, this film, it's not really R-rated. It's not like out and out gore, and it's not super twisted. I don't know. It's just, there was a lot of things that I didn't quite get, and the whole Beverly thing pissed me off at the end, which is like, she's the one who deals with her dad. She's the one who stabs it through the head, and then it kidnaps her for no reason. I'm like, why is he kidnapping her? It might just kill her. Like that's one thing I didn't go. Oh, he's gonna capture and then he's gonna lure these other kids in. I'm like, from what I've seen of this creature, it can go anywhere at any time and attack them whenever it wants.
Yeah. So what's that gonna do?
Yeah. Just kill her and then kill them as it comes in the sewer. Why keep her alive? Because they're like, oh, she's the strongest and she's not afraid. So she's floating there like a comatose patient.
I know. And then when I guess like it's so weird when he goes, "You will be," and like his face kind of like inverted in, and he had all those teeth. I thought, okay, he's gonna fucking kill her.
Yeah.
But then she just floats off.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why is your face gone in like that?
What? Yeah, like what? That's the point of like, there's a lot of things that you just have to realize that's not in the book. They're trying to fix a problem in the book, but they're not. There's a lot of foundation that wasn't built into the book. And Stephen King...
And then the kiss that kind of brought her back.
The kiss that brought her back, yeah. And it's just, what?
My a buddy of mine said in his... when he went to see it at the theatre, when that happened, everyone in the theatre was just, literally, like, everyone was like, WTF. They were like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
There was like a bit of a sigh. So
It's a problem again. It's the book... The ending in the book is... Spoiler for the book again, but no one's going to read it. It's a fucking brick. In the book, there's this very strange scene where all the boys have sex with Beth.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Like, everyone's heard about it. It's doing all the rounds now and stuff. And, like, you can't put that in a movie. You can barely get away with that in a book. But trying to fix that, it's like the story there's no central story to it in the book. Like, there's nothing that makes sense in the book. Like, oh, this is where the character starts, and then he goes on a journey and he finishes. There's just a lot of emotions and scenes and atmosphere that is very well done. So that's where the book skirts by. And I think somebody just needed to just grab this movie and just be like, this is what we're doing. We're doing a story like this. It's different than the book, but it makes sense. And they tried to do that where it's like, oh, Bill's looking for his little brother, and then at the end he sees his little brother and he goes, sorry, Georgie's dead, and he shoots him in the head with that cattle gun thing. But it's like, it doesn't make sense because we know Georgie's dead. Yeah. So what? It's just, it's the more I think about it, the more holes are in it.
Yeah, we're like picking it apart.
Yeah, but on the surface, it's fine. It's a good looking film, and it'll keep you entertained for an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah, actually, I've got to say, you mentioned some of those other films like Paranormal Activity and all of those kind of things, and yeah, those guys don't have a cast to back it up. Like, this one did have the cast to back it up, had some really good visuals, it was filmed great, so it definitely has a lot of pros as well. I just don't think... I was hearing a lot of hype before I saw it. I don't think, for me, it hasn't lived up to that, but I always like to see it and make my own decision anyway.
Yeah.
But
I think it just got a perfect release time because there's nothing else in the cinema right now.
Yeah, totally. I wonder if they must have purposely not wanted October, like Halloween time. I'm guessing there's lots of... I know Jigsaw's out at Halloween.
Right.
They're different types of films, I guess.
Yeah, because they're in the middle of, like, Kingsman's out this weekend, and then the Tom Cruise American Made is out. Kingsman's out now, and then next week it's American Made with Tom Cruise. And you stick it in the middle of that. You're kind of like, okay, that's a change. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, it's good strategy, I guess. So,
and like the film is set in around the end of the summertime, so it makes sense like that.
Yeah.
And then they changed a little detail where they said it comes back every 27 years because it's been 27 years since the TV movie came out.
That was cool.
Yeah, so they've done a little bits here and there, but in general, I'm like, watch it. Watch it when it becomes digital or streaming or something.
Yeah, wait for it to go into Netflix. So
yeah,
I'm sure Netflix will dig it up.
But I'd rather they keep making movies that are at least this good rather than Paranormal Activity 6 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Lights Out, all that bollocks. So.
Yeah, at least they're getting somewhere with it.
Yeah. Totally agree. So, yeah, I mean, we had some fun. We had some fun with it. So, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people at Halloween going as Pennywise.
And they're going to get a lot of people punched in the face.
Yes, they are. Actually, there's going to be a lot of kids with the yellow raincoat as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, a lot of people pulling jokes like that where they do the mannequins and shit, and they put the yellow raincoat on it with the balloon.
You got to do it all out, though. You got to have the arm ripped off.
Yeah, you have the arm ripped off. You have your little boat, the SS Georgie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely in a little boat. Putting it down the stream. That would be pretty sweet. I think I might do that.
That's all you got to do. Just like tomorrow, just make one of those little boats and leave it on the street, like just beside one of the storm drains, just to freak someone the fuck out.
I'm gonna do that, and then I'll just give someone a ring at work on like a payphone and just say,
you know what you got? Yeah, you know what you got to do. You got to find a way of, you put a weight on the bottom of a string, and then you get a red balloon, and you put it into the grate, and then somehow you got to get an air fan and just blow it up underneath the grate, and then you drop it, so the weight will keep it there, but the balloon will be floating.
Yeah,
and then people can just like walk past and they'll just see a red balloon in the sewer, just freak them the fuck out.
That would be insane.
Oh my god, I'm gonna try that tomorrow.
Yeah,
let's so
execute
good.
that. Look out for it, Toronto.
Yeah, or if you want to be a real prick, the thing that's holding it down, the weight can be like a little recorder that every like 5 minutes just has it just repeats, and all you can hear on is like, we all float down here. We all float down here. Just someone walking past like, all right, running home, never leaving the house again. Yeah. Pop,
yeah.
Pop, pop. Hey, Georgie. You just record like 60 different names, just like, hey, Bill. Hey, Sharon. Just one time, it's going to be right. It's just one person walk past.
Right, yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah. So good.
The new prank for Halloween, just fuck your friends up.
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast just on pranks.
Yeah, we have to. And hopefully not get punched in the face.
Well, that's just good. That's going to happen.
That's the risk you take. It's the risk you take.
Regardless.
Yeah, so that was it. That was our movie for the week.
That was the It review.
I mentioned Assassin's Creed already. It's shit. Don't watch it.
Doesn't like it either. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought of it as well in the comments. This is obviously a spoiler review. We're at the end of it, so it's all, if you got here, it's been spoiled. But
it's been spoiled. You know what's happened. Yeah.
And, what's that?
Yeah, we've spoiled it, so you don't need to see it. We just saved you $20. Send that $20 over to our Patreon. Boom, done. I don't know what happens. Every month I just send these assholes money and then they tell me the movies that I'm going to see. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, subscribe or don't. It's your life. You can do what you want.
Yeah, if you like what you heard, check out the full episode. We're on YouTube and iTunes.
Thanks, guys. He didn't say thanks because he's a prick.